Hello, and welcome to the LinkedIn Collective Studio, coming to you from the 71st Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity. I'm Rahul Mehta. I lead the Global Agency Client Development team here at LinkedIn. I'm thrilled to be joined today by Marla Kaplowitz, CEO of the 4As. In the session today, we'll discuss the increasingly important topic that keeps many marketers up at night: measurement. Luckily, we're armed with more tools and tactics than ever before to prove the effectiveness of our programs. Marla, excited to jump into this with you. There's obviously so much going on in the world of measurement with our industry and obviously everything that's been happening on the agency side. I would love to get your perspective on just the current state of measurement in marketing and advertising.
It just seems that at a time where we need more simplicity versus complexity, we're going the wrong way, because there is such an urgent need for better measurement to not just understand what an individual channel is doing, but really cross-media measurement and what is really driving business. And what is challenging right now for marketers is understanding what is that truth and what's the right data source to use. You can get data from the agency. Are you getting it from a third party? Are you getting it from a particular platform or publisher? So I think there's tremendous opportunity, but ultimately the senior people in the C-suite, they need that measurement data. They need to understand ROI. They need to know what it's doing on a short and long-term basis. So I'm excited because we keep seeing companies that are coming out with new ways of measuring, but we still need that complete picture. And I worry in a world of a lot of walled gardens that that's going to be increasingly challenging.
Yeah, those are all great points. And I think what's been so interesting is, you brought up ROI, right? That's everyone's favorite term, especially as we talk to the C-suite. 82% of marketers feel as though they are prepared to have a conversation about the ROI of their marketing initiative. What do you feel is giving them that confidence? What tools and tactics do you feel like they're using to help instill confidence in the C-suite that their marketing approach is the right one?
There's a lot of different measurement tools that they're using. They can use market mix modeling data. They can use multi-touch attribution. There's a lot of different methodologies they can use, but that's great to know that they have that level of confidence right now and really getting deep, because they have to go into the financial team and be able to sell that. They have to go to their CEO and be able to prove that out. So making sure that we have better data as we move on to get to 100% where people really have that confidence. I know in the LinkedIn research, it showed that the more senior people had greater confidence than some of the more junior or mid-level people. And I think that gets to the mid people who are really on the ground and really have to drive this decision, and they're closest to it, understand some of the challenges with current day tools and data. And the more senior people are looking at it at a kind of 20,000 foot view.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of LinkedIn research, one of the things we are very proud of and talk about a lot when we go to market is this concept of a 95-5 rule, right? Essentially meaning only 5% of your audience is actually thinking about making a purchase at the time. So when you think about a stat like that, what does that mean to you from how a marketer should think about their strategy, and more specifically, a B2B strategy?
Yeah. This is so important because marketers are too hyper-focused on the short term. It's how they look at the data and the measurement, and we're not paying enough attention to long-term metrics. The challenge is that people are in jobs that are often very fleeting. There's demand, there's pressure in the world on producing results, and in a very short period of time. We all have somewhat of a short attention span. So what I think is so valuable about the 95-5 rule is there might only be that 5% of your customers that are in the market at any given time, but there are 95%, that broader audience that may be a month away, 6 months, 2 years, but how do you build that brand and that connection, especially in a B2B world, especially if you're talking about big ticket items? I used to work on GE, and we were helping them sell multi-million-dollar jet engines. You're talking like $25 million or greater. And so getting that level of segmentation and narrowing in, but that is not an overnight purchase decision like buying a tube of toothpaste. It takes time, and you have to really build trust and confidence over time. So it's so important. We always talk about always on campaigns, and it's not just a saying, it really is critical because you never know who's dipping in and out at any given time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine the number of people involved in a jet engine purchase. So speaking of which, what would, as we talk about buying groups, how do you think about the buying groups and the complexity of the different audiences you have to get in front of to sell a B2B product?
Yeah, I mean, it's so varied. I mean, first you have to start with really understanding that customer, whether you're talking about B2C or B2B, you really have to know that customer. But then you think about all the different constituents inside that organization. So there's the person who wants to purchase it, let's say for their department. Then they have to run that up to the more senior levels. Then you've got to have finance approve that. Then maybe depending upon the size of the purchase, it's going to someone even more senior in the organization. So this is also why it can't be something that's very compressed in terms of time. You need patience, but you need to make sure that you understand those different components and those different people, because they each have different motivations, different risk factors, and also different incentives in the way that they get rewarded. So every time you're kind of moving it along the chain, the more you can mitigate risk, the better. And that's where measurement comes in to try and show either how it's worked in the past, how it's worked for others that are kind of like for like in terms of the category, or some sort of predictive analysis that will give you some, hopefully, comfort that it will deliver and it will pay out based on what your expectations are.
That actually really resonates, because I know as we think about our strategy, we're really also trying to get our clients to understand how they can broaden some of their target and understand maybe the buyer isn't the person you're targeting today, but to your point, they will be that buyer in 2 years. Given your exposure that you've seen across so many different agencies, I would love to get your thoughts on an example of a data-driven decision that you've seen an agency make recently, and what was the outcome of that?
Sure, and I just want to kind of bring up a point from a recent piece of survey, recent piece of research that we did at the 4As with the A&A and advertiser perceptions to better understand what marketers care about when it comes to value. And 67%, number one was campaign performance, right? It's measurement. That is so key. So we have an agency member, Fitzco, down in Atlanta, and they have a B2B client that focuses in on training. So the way that they had been communicating these training opportunities was to just do flyers, reach out to different organizations. And the agency went to them with an idea to be much more hyper-targeted and to really segment out, and then to kind of pull out a control group. And they were able to reduce costs by 34% while keeping the signups perfectly flat. So when you can take that cost per acquisition down, that really helps you not only increase your budget, hopefully over time, but it's proving out the value of what that medium is doing too.
That's wonderful. I'm assuming they saw a lot of success from that strategy?
Absolutely.
Marla, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your experience. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you to our audience for tuning in. For more B2B insights, check out the B2B Marketing Benchmark Report. Bye for now.